Okay, so here's the snare track by itself, dry. Okay, I'm going to turn, this is a concert hall reverb. 32 is the room size. 0.3 seconds is the reverb time, which is extremely minimal, very little, and no pre-delay at all. Okay, so here's the sound of the snare drum dry again. Now with some reverb. Now we're going to add some reverb time to that, about 2 seconds, 2.5. Very nice. Beautiful sounding reverb, but that's kind of long. 2.4 seconds doesn't seem that long. But can you imagine with everything else going on? That'd be a big blur. So what we could do to try to make this snare drum sound like it's really distant, we could remove some of the reverb time, lower the reverb time, okay, and increase the pre-delay to about 60 or 70. Now listen, you'll hear the reverb after you hear the snare drum. Naturally, reverb is always after, but now there's going to be almost a tenth of a second of delay of time between the time we hear the dry snare drum and then we hear the reverb of it. You can really hear the sound of the snare drum bouncing off the wall. And that's all with just 1 second of reverb. Here's with virtually all the way turned all the way down again, and even more pre-delay. This will sound unrealistic, of course, but so some reverb, you do need some reverb time, certainly, and some pre-delay makes it sound huge without having it be so long. Okay? If we increase the room size, naturally, Lexicon is going to calculate that the reverb time would be longer. But we don't have to live with that. We can make it however we want. A bigger room, but maybe there's more curtains in it now, so it doesn't, reverberate as long. You can hear the diffusion. Too much. Maybe just one notch. That sounds very cool, but the reverb is still too long. That's bouncing around too much. We just got too big of a room, that's all. Too much pre-delay. That's too small of a room. See, we didn't change the room size, but it sounds a lot smaller because we lowered our pre-delay. We make the room sound huge with more pre-delay. But anyway, that's the 3 main settings of any reverb. The room size, and this is in square meters, the reverb time in seconds, and pre-delay in milliseconds. Anything over about 80 or 90 or 100 milliseconds pre-delay, you're going to really notice some bad settings. And in context, that wouldn't be too bad. Okay, so here's no reverb. Now you notice that was mono, completely mono. That's because we're listening to just the output of the reverb, and I'm going in with just one cable. So we have mono sound unless we add reverb to it. So here's mono again. Okay, now here's adding some reverb to it. And we're just adding stereo reverb to a mono signal. This is, in the old days, this is how you made a stereo recording out of a mono recording. Pretty cool. It's not long enough. I would say, let's try this. Probably not quite that much pre-delay. Okay, now it should sound really cool.